Hello, 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 hello. Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you. Happy New Year to you. Wait, I'm not allowed to sing that song. That song was used for educational purposes only. Hey, welcome, welcome. Happy New Year. Welcome back to YouTube Live on Mondays. My name is Michael. Thank you for joining me today. And Happy New Year. Tammy, hello. Monica, hello. Elena, hello. Marcella, welcome. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Happy New Year 2023. My goodness. Sounds like the future, doesn't it? It is 2023. Yeah. I hope you had a nice little break. Lilia, hello. Welcome. Happy New Year. Fabulous fab. Yeah. Welcome back. What did you do over the long holiday break that we had here? Did you study English? I know some of you did. I saw you in various places. I'm following you. Michael the Stalker. No, actually, I see you in different places on the internet. Hello, Jessica. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. So what did you do? Did you have any time off? Hello, Sama. Did you take any time off? Did you do something? I don't know. What did you do? Did you study English? Did you rest? Did you try something new? What did you do in the last couple of weeks? What did I do in the last couple of weeks? That's a good question. I can't remember. I don't know. I don't know what I did. What did I do? I did study, though. That's what I did. Still studying Japanese. My teacher took a long break, and she's coming back she went back to Japan, and she's coming back to America, I think, in the middle of this month. So I'm looking forward to seeing her starting lessons again. I'm the kind of person that I learn best when there's structure. And so somebody says, Michael, you should do this, this, and this. And I go, okay, I'll do that. And then that helps me to learn. So how about you? What did you do? What have you been doing since I saw you last, which was about 3 weeks ago, I think? By the way, if you've just joined and this is your first time to come to one of my live English lessons, this is an interactive session, and there's a chat somewhere. I don't know what, maybe below this video. So feel free to type and chat. Remember to be nice to people. I have to say that because sometimes people are not. Marcella says, I took a few days break from English, but a lot of energy to continue learning. Good. I like to hear that. Because today we're going to talk about, I want to start the year off right with giving you some advice about how you can improve your English. But first, it's really up to you. I'd like to know what you've got going and what you have done. I booked a 2-week language course in Malta. Nice. Excellent. I was in Malta twice, and I was surprised because I worked for a language school company there that was based there for a very short time in my life. And their headquarters was in Malta. And I went there, and I was shocked to find that there are something like 70 language schools there. It's like a really popular place. Good for you. When are you going to go there? I watched an old movie starring Charlie Chaplin, King in New York. That is me. The movie is not allowed to show in the States, really. Javier, hello, welcome. Feliz Ano para usted. Yes, Happy New Year. I think that's what that means. Marcella, when are you going to go to Malta? That sounds exciting. I did a lot of things since we saw each other last, such as walking, hanging out with my friends, learning React. What's React? Reviewing English vocabulary. Excellent. Excellent, excellent. That's good. I'm very pleased and excited. Hi, Peter. Welcome. I'm so pleased because most of the people that I meet here, and all of the people that come here on a regular basis, are hardworking language learners, and I appreciate your effort. Some of you have been coming to this live English lesson since I started the end of 2021, which is awesome, and I appreciate that. And I know that you work very hard at learning English, so I'm going to do my best today to help you learn. By the way, if you have an English question, I'd be happy to answer that before we get to today's topic, which is getting you ready for a new year of study. That's right. That's right. React is a free and open source front-end JavaScript library for building user interfaces based on UI components, maintained by Meta. Okay, gotcha. That's technical. Excellent. But that's good. It's always good to learn something new and learn something different. So that's awesome. In May, I want to have nice weather. Good, yeah. Excellent. I think I went there in May, if I'm not mistaken. It was either May or June, but the weather was nice. I tried to brush up a little English and Japanese. Excellent. Ganbatte kudasai. Go for it. Hello, Isa. Is it decoration behind you or your real apartment? This is a virtual background. Jessica, thank you so much. I appreciate that. That's very kind of you. Hey, Tefo, Happy New Year. Welcome. Yeah, it's always good to learn something new. Right now, this week in particular, I'm going to be working on improving my podcast sound. So, I have a good microphone, and I'm trying to figure out how to make the sound better so you can have a better experience. So that's what I'm going to study, that kind of technology this week. Who else? What have you learned over the break? Tefo, I'm sure you've been studying. You're always studying. So that's my question. If you've just joined, what have you studied over the break? What have you learned? Do you have any English questions? Something I can help you with? Just let me know. Whatever, I don't care. So what? Yeah, I have a couple more of those that are coming up. So, and I do have a podcast that's coming out today. And so that should be interesting for you. A hangover is my new word. Uh-oh. Somebody did too much partying over New Year's. I did not drink a lot of alcohol this New Year's Eve. Let me just first preface that by saying that it's a tradition, and please feel free to let us know the tradition for celebrating the New Year in your country. Americans tend to have a lot of parties on December 31st, which involve a lot of eating and drinking. That's a very typical thing to do. People stay up all night and eat and drink all night. I did not do that this year. I just drank a little bit of Japanese sake with some sushi, and I was able to stay up to watch the Times Square countdown. So it's the first time that I've not fallen asleep before midnight in a long time. Isa, thank you very much for those kind words. Jessica says, reading a new English book. What are you reading? Tell us the book you're reading. Please share. Your podcasts are good for our mental health. Wow, excellent. When I was sick in bed, I also listened to your podcasts. Excellent. Wow, that's awesome. Thank you. It's not my thing to drink hard drinks and shots. I prefer eating sweeties and cookies and chocolates. Excellent. Excellent. That's probably more healthy. Although I tend to drink a lot of coffee. And I've got my new ukiyo-e themed coffee mug from Santa Claus. Thank you, Santa. And yeah. So let's move ahead, and let's get into it. So it is a new year, and a lot of people have asked me recently, Michael, how do I learn more with you? And it's really easy. All you need to do is go to myhappyenglish.com. And there are basically 4 ways that you can learn with me. You can sign up for my free workshop, my free vocabulary workshop. You can take my self-study lessons. I have several self-study courses, and some of those include live Zoom coaching with me. There's also my English Learners community. Now, many of you here are in my English Learners community, which I appreciate that. We meet every week on Zoom, and that course has lots of self-study lessons, plus the live lessons with me. You can also take a one-to-one lesson with me if you're interested in that. All that information can be found at myhappyenglish.com. If you have a chance, please join my English Learners community. We have a great time chatting on Telegram, and many of you here are in that group. So, yeah, come join us. I got a new book as a Christmas gift, Little Prince in English. Oh, good for you. Good for you. That's good. We're going to be talking about reading in a moment. So, if you have any books that you're reading in English, please let us know. I'd like to know what you guys like to read. So, everybody asks this question. Oh, Michael, how can I improve my English? And I'm going to give you some tips today. Now, I did this same lesson about a year or so ago. So if it's a repeat for you, it might be a good review. It's the first of the year. It's, the beginning of a new year. Let's start off the new year right. So this is my basic philosophy of learning language. Language has input and output. Let me just make myself bigger for a moment. Language has input and output. Input is listening and reading. Listening and reading. That's input. It goes into you. Output is you producing something. And you can do that either by speaking or writing. That's why I encourage you in this class to write in the comments, okay? Don't be shy about typing in the comments because it's good output. And you need those 2 things. You need to practice those 2 things, hopefully on a daily basis. So do a little bit of listening and speaking and reading and writing every day. Hang on one second. Let me just fix that a little bit. Okay. There we go. And we're going to get into the details of all of those things next. So, let's talk about listening first, and I'd like to get your feedback. I'd like to know what you are listening to. No matter what you study, no matter what you do, make sure you're interested in it. Okay? If you've got a grammar book and you think that book is boring, don't use it. If you're reading a novel just to practice English and you think that novel is boring, don't read it, okay? Just do what's interesting for you, Okay? So, here are some of my suggestions. The first one for listening is podcasts. Now, there are podcasts out there in English on just about every topic you can imagine. That's right, every topic that you can imagine. And so, find something you're interested in and find a podcast for that. It doesn't have to be an English learning podcast. It could be a podcast about gardening, or a podcast about cooking, or a podcast about, I don't know, model railroads. Whatever it is that you're interested in, find something. Now, there's one news organization called NPR, and they have a couple of really interesting podcasts. One is called This American Life, which is, if you're interested in American culture, it's all about different aspects of American culture. There's also one called Radio Lab, which is more about kind of science, technology, and psychology all together. Quite interesting. Of course, if you're looking for an English learning podcast, it's the Happy English Podcast by me. That's right. That is my podcast to help you learn English. All right. There's also this, where you are right now. There's YouTube. My goodness, there's tons and tons and tons and tons of things in English on YouTube. I don't think I need to list them all for you. By the way, what podcasts or YouTube channels do you like? Why don't you leave a comment in the chat? What are you listening to? Do you listen to any podcasts? What do you listen to? Coach Shane in the house. Coach Shane in the house. All right, let me just explain who this man is. If you guys don't know or haven't seen Coach Shane, who I am going to try really hard. I don't know if I have to try hard, but I'm going to get him on my podcast. I would love to have you as a guest on my podcast, Coach Shane. This guy is awesome. So I started my career as an online English teacher in 2010. And of course, as you know, I've been doing this since 1994. But that aside, when I first came on the scene with my Facebook account and Twitter, because that's kind of all there was, I found this guy, Coach Shane. Now, since that time, since 2010, many English teachers have come and go, but he's still here helping you learn English. And if you haven't checked him out, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, his program is called Let's Master English. And so you've got to go look him up, Coach Shane. Do that on Google. Not now. But go check him out. Check out his lessons. He is also recently doing a radio program. He's on the radio. He's on the radio and also live video on the radio. I don't know how he does that. He is the technology master as well as the guy to help you master English. So go check out Coach Shane. And by the way, just on a personal note, I'm very jealous that he's on the radio because that was always my dream as a child. Anyway, so go check out him. And what he's got going to help you, okay? He's got a YouTube channel, or a couple of YouTube channels, and a podcast. And check out his radio show so you can listen to English, okay? And thanks, Coach, for coming in. I appreciate that. There's also American TV programs, all right? There's Friends, there's Big Bang Theory, and then there's Netflix. There's, again, whatever you're interested in, it doesn't matter, okay? It doesn't matter what you watch. People say, oh, Michael, is it okay if I watch Breaking Bad? It doesn't matter what you watch. As long as you're interested in it, that'll give you motivation, okay? When I want to study Japanese and practice my listening, I tune in to an animation called Sazai-san. Now, that's an animation, I think it's kind of geared for kids, but it's entertaining for me and it's helpful for my Japanese practice. So find something you like and listen to that. Thank you, Coach. Thank you, Coach. I'm going to send you an email later. We got to get together, come on the podcast, and have a chat. I think that'd be awesome. By the way, I do want to mention one thing. And Crayon Shinchan, David Neal in the house. Oh, my God. David. Hello, David. Hello. Let me just say hello. Hold on. Hello, David. By the way, I had that Nihonshu on New Year's Eve. Awesome. Thank you very, very much. All right. By the way, if this year, if you're planning on taking an English exam, if you're planning on taking if you're planning on taking TOEIC or TOEFL or IELTS, and you want to improve and practice your listening, practice listening from those exams, okay? If you're taking TOEFL this year, you need to get TOEFL practice tests and get the practice listening and listen to those exercises. Same with IELTS, same with TOEIC. Study and drill the listening practice from those exams to help you with those exams. Got that? So the listening section of English exams like TOEIC, TOEFL, and IELTS are very, very particular and very specific. And so watching CNN News is not going to help you get a good score on the listening for TOEIC. Okay? It's not the same kind of listening. It's a different kind of listening. So again, don't make that mistake. Yes, watching Friends or checking out Coach Shane's podcast, that's going to help you with your English listening. But in particular, if you're taking an exam, if you're taking TOEIC, TOEFL, or IELTS, you need to practice the listening from those exams exclusively. All right? That's what's going to help you. Okay. So that's listening. Let's talk about reading. Again, reading. Again, it's got to be something that you're interested in. Okay? And so what can you do? What can you read? How can you find something to read? All right, and Crayon Shinchan. Read Crayon Shinchan if you're studying Japanese. Elena, that's a good one for you that my friend David wrote here. So, the internet. Check it out, guys. Look, when I started studying Japanese in the 1990s, oh my God, there was no internet. There was no internet. So there was a book called a magazine called the Nihongo Journal and the Hiragana Times. And there was, that's it, and books. Okay? There was nothing. Now you have the internet. You are so lucky to be living in this era that you can just go to Google and type in, reading in English or English books. You can go to the internet, what is it called? The Internet Archive? No. The Gutenberg, Project Gutenberg. I forgot that one. Sorry. I'm going to put that in here. Michael doesn't know how to spell. Hold on. Project Gutenberg. Oh, I would have spelled that correctly. Here you go. Go here. Not now, not now. Da, 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 da. Now go. Hi, welcome. Happy New Year. Okay. 60,000 free books at Project Gutenberg. Oh, I can't afford to spend money for books. Free books. Over 60,000, okay? Hello, Mie, welcome. Happy New Year. So, go to Project Gutenberg, okay? Go to Breaking News English. This is an interesting website. This guy takes news articles and he summarizes them in 6 different levels, plus a lot of exercises and vocabulary practice for current news articles. So check him out. That's Breaking News English. There's also something called wrongchang.com. Don't forget the hyphen. And that website has links to hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of reading material, from very basic to really advanced, okay? So check those out. Or get some books. And you know, my favorite book is The Diary of the Wimpy Kid. And so, and go with the 60-70 rule. The 60-70% rule says if you can read around 60 or 70% of the book without a dictionary, just guessing or skipping over the words you don't know, if you can read a page and you guess at the vocab and you don't need a dictionary and you can understand what they're saying, that's a good book for you. All right? Now, as I mentioned last year, I started studying Japanese regularly with a teacher in August last year. And I've gone through a lot of books. And so I'm on my 6th book right now, my 6th novel. Because I've gone through a lot of books that are not in the 60 to 70% rule. So you have to find things that work at your level that you can read without a dictionary. And so that's my recommendation, okay? You need to read. And again, whatever you're reading, make sure that it's something you're interested in. So there. All right. What did I want to say? Next. Okay, writing. You need to write. You need to write. You need to write. Oh, but Michael, reading is so hard, and writing is really hard, and I don't know what to write, and I can't write. Just write. Just write, okay? What's the best thing to write? Social media. You're already doing it. You're on Instagram. You're on Facebook. You're on Twitter, or wherever you are on social media, all right? Just type in English. Now, if you follow me, or you follow Coach Shane, or you follow Jonathan, right? Learn English with Jonathan, or any of the lots of English teachers out there, they're going to post something in English. Comment in English. That's all. That's all you need to do. If you do that every day for a half hour and all you do is look at what other English teachers or me, what I have written, and you comment on that, that's a half hour of writing. That's great. Better than nothing, and it's output. You need the output. All right? Or become a blogger yourself. Open up a blog and start typing in English. Keep a diary. Keep a journal. Whatever it is, just write. Just write. Just write. Try to write something every day. Now, I know some people who have a secondary social media account for learning language. I have one. I have my second Instagram account, which is just where I post things in Japanese for practicing Japanese, which I haven't written there in a while. I'm too busy. But I have it. Some of you might have a secondary Instagram account for learning English. I know that some of you do because I see those accounts too. I follow those. Use that. Use the social media since you're going to spend, look, and let's be honest, right? You probably spend time on Instagram every day. Maybe too much time. Right? So maybe this year, instead of spending an hour a day, 10 minutes here, 10 minutes there, 5 minutes on the bathroom, people do that. Instead of doing that, why don't you spend 15 minutes following English teachers and responding to their comments? Okay? Some people say, oh, but if I write in English and I post in English, my friends in my country who don't speak English are not going to understand me. Fine. Then don't post on your page in English. Post on my page. I basically upload a video almost every day on Instagram. And so, why not? Okay? So use social media to your advantage to post. Tefo asks, do I have some good listening plates for TOEFL or templates for TOEFL or TOEIC? Tefo, you're a member of my English learners community, and in the listening section, a lot of that is styled after TOEIC level listening. So if you haven't done those listening exercises yet in the English learners community, try those. Otherwise, you have to go to Google. If you go to Google and you type in TOEIC listening practice or TOEFL listening practice, there are a lot of websites out there that have that as well. So check that out. Think in English. Naoko, you love that book, I know. Think in English. Yes, we're going to get to that, Peter. So just try to write something every day. That's my best advice for you. And then let's talk about speaking, okay? And keep this in mind, okay? You don't need native speakers. You don't need native speakers. Well, I'm only going to talk to native speakers because talking to language learners is a waste of time and it doesn't help me, blah, 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 blah. That's not true. And there's scientific research that proves that two language learners, okay, two people studying the same language, I'll put those over here, okay, have more effective communication and conversation than one native speaker and one language learner, okay? It's proven scientifically. Go to Google and look it up. You will benefit by communicating with other language learners. In my English learners community, we have a Telegram group, and what I love about my Telegram group is that people, here we are, just constantly chat. People are chatting all the time, okay? And so in English. And so it's very, very effective for getting out there and communicating with people. If you're waiting around for a native speaker to suddenly become your language partner, you might be waiting a long time depending on where you live, unless you live in a metropolitan area or an international area. So let's talk about speaking and how you can find a speaking partner, okay? So one way to find those native speaking partners is a language exchange at a language school. Let's say you live in, Peter, where do you live? I'm going to pick on Peter. Peter, where do you live? Peter, where do you live? Tick-tock, tick-tock. Maybe he's busy. Oh, there's a 5-second delay. In Siberia. Okay. Are there any language schools there where people are learning your local language? Maybe you live in Italy and there's an Italian language school. Maybe you live in South Korea and there's a Korean language school. Maybe you live in Japan and there's a Japanese language school. Maybe you live in France. Lolly lolly. We miss you, Lolly. Maybe you live in France and there's a French language school. Look around for a language school that's teaching your language to foreign people. There you go. There's a few. So, Peter, what you do is you go to that language school and you say to, whoever works there, you say, look, do you have anybody in your school who's a native English speaker or who can speak English and they're learning at your school? And then maybe there is, right? So if let's say, for example, you're in Brazil, okay, and there are Americans learning Brazilian Portuguese. So you go to a language school that teaches Portuguese to foreigners, and you go, hey, Mr. Language School, if any of your students would like to have a language partner to practice their Portuguese, I would be happy to do a language exchange with them. Oh, Michael, that's a brilliant idea. Thank you. Okay? That's a great way to find a language partner in your town, in your area. Or go to your local college or local university if they have international students there, and there's probably some kind of international student support office, the office to help international students. So you go to the university and you go to the international support office and you go, hey, if any of your international exchange students, your overseas students, would like a language partner to practice our local language, I can be their language partner. All right? So that's how you can find people who are really interested in learning languages, okay? Because they're in your country, they're learning your language, you're trying to learn their language. Oh, brilliant. You can also, that's one idea. My second idea is get an app. Go to HelloTalk, go to Clubhouse, Duolingo, whatever app you have that involves communicating and finding people, and find a language partner if you're looking for a speaking partner, okay? Or join my English learners community at myhappyenglish.com. Join us. There's a lot of nice people there chatting and having a wonderful time. Many of them are in this live lesson right now, okay? Also, there are some websites that you can practice English. Now, I mentioned Jonathan before. If you don't know Jonathan, he's there on Instagram all the time. He has something called the 30-Day Speaking Challenge, where you can record yourself speaking English or whatever other second language you have or third language, and then you upload that every day to his website, and you can get involved that way, and people will give you some feedback on your speaking or give you tips, and you can also meet other learners and native speakers, okay? So check him out. Jonathan's website is hugginsinternational.com. There's also a website called Imigo, which has interesting speaking lessons where you work with a teacher once a week, and then 5 days a week they put you in a small group where you can chat with other people. Okay, and it's a relatively low-cost program. Okay, so you can check out those. Also, I believe Coach Shane, who's visiting us today, has his own community of language learners. So go check him out. And then Peter said that before, I think. Did Peter say that? Who said that before? Speak to yourself. Somebody said speak to yourself. VOA and Joe Rogan, Peter said. Okay, I can't remember. Somebody said that. Talk to yourself. Think in English, talk to yourself. That's also very, very helpful. You wake up in the morning, think in English, right? You wake up in the morning, you open the fridge, and you go, oh my God, what am I going to have for breakfast today? I think I'll have a bagel, or I'm going to have toast, or I'm going to drink another cup of coffee. What's the weather like? Let me check my phone. Oh, the temperature is -10. Ah! Just talk to yourself. Let that voice, let that narrative voice that's in your head be in English. Okay? Go to the shopping mall, look at the shoe store, and look at all the shoes and practice comparative adjectives. Oh, look at that. The brown shoes are much nicer than the black shoes, but the black shoes are a little cheaper. Or you practice conditionals. If I had $400, I would buy those expensive shoes. Okay? Go to the grocery store, do the same thing. Probably all of you go to the grocery store at some point in the week, right? Practice English in the grocery store. Look, the bananas are cheaper than the apples, but the apples are more delicious than the bananas. Okay? Find ways to practice by yourself. Let that little voice come out of your head. Okay? Or get a book and read out loud. Okay? So you go into, you get your, where's my book? Do I have a book? I don't have a book in English right now. Nope, sorry. No English books here, just Japanese books. So you get a book and you go, today Rowley and I went to the post office and we tried to find somebody to hang out with. I don't know why they went to the post office. Read with your voice. How about shadowing? Shadowing is a great technique. Shadowing is a great technique. So, you watch a TV program and, somebody comes into the scene and they go, hey, how's it going? Pause. And you say, hey, how's it going? Play. Hey, what's up, man? Pause. Hey, what's up, man? Okay, you can do shadowing. Shadowing is a great technique for practicing fluency. I also wrote a blog post, it's going to come out this week, I didn't publish it yet, about singing. Singing. Okay, when I lived in Japan, hang on, where am I? David, are you still here? When I lived in Japan 20-something years ago, I used to go to karaoke a lot, or karaoke as we say in America. Karaoke is great. Right, David? Waizu Manu say. So you can practice reading. And the best thing is now with YouTube, you don't even have to go to a karaoke place. You can do it in your bedroom or wherever you like to look at YouTube. So you go to YouTube and you type in a song and type in karaoke or however you want to pronounce it. And, okay, so you're reading the lyrics, okay? You're practicing the reading, and sometimes it goes very quick and you got to read quicker. It's also a way to practice linking and liaison, right? What do I gotta do to make you want me? Right? What do I gotta do? What do I gotta do? The way that we sing in good music is the same way that we speak. The phrasing in a song, yesterday, all my troubles seem so far away. The phrasing in a song, pardon me, is the same as the phrasing that we speak. In many cases, okay? Sometimes it doesn't always work that way. But singing is great practice. And if you follow my blog, I'm going to post that Wednesday or Thursday this week. I'm still working on the post. So that's a great thing to do, okay? So going back to this, you can think in English, talk out loud, talk to yourself, narrate your day. What am I going to have? Let's see. What am I going to have today? I think I'm going to have... Oh, the mouse battery is very low, they just said. Okay. I'm going to switch mice. You can read out loud. Remember, when you read out loud, nouns and verbs get stressed. Other words are not stress. Stressed. Always a typing mistake. I'll fix that. Other words are not stressed. Talk to yourself. Find a speaking partner. I usually talk to myself in English, but I think I've been making a bunch of mistakes. It doesn't matter. All right, so let's just the elephant in the room. You know that phrase? There's the elephant in the room. There's the topic that is we have to talk about, but nobody wants to talk about. Let's talk about mistakes. Oh, I don't want to talk to a non-native speaker because non-native speakers make mistakes and then they don't correct me and nobody corrects me and I'm afraid of it. Okay, first of all, if you come to New York and you meet somebody somewhere and you start having a conversation with them, they're not going to correct you. That's first of all, okay? The only person who's going to correct you is your teacher. Yeah, well, you made a typo, I made a typo, so don't worry about it. No one's going to correct you. That's first of all. And second of all, nobody cares if you make a mistake. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. What do they care about? They care about communication. That's the only thing people care about. I want to have a conversation with you. Let's have a nice conversation. You know, you go somewhere, you're at a coffee shop in a foreign country or wherever you are, and you see somebody and you start talking to them. When you're done with the conversation and you say thank you and goodbye, the person that you spoke to is not going to go home and say, hey, you know, I met this very nice gentleman in the coffee shop today, but my God, he really can't use prepositions or and the correctly. They're not going to say that. No one's going to talk about your language ability, okay? The only time you have to worry about that is if there's a miscommunication. And then somebody will probably say, if there is a miscommunication, they'll say, how do you mean? Or what do you mean? What do you mean by that? And then you go, oh, what I mean is blah, blah, blah. That's all. That happens in your native language too, doesn't it? Sometimes you say something and then somebody doesn't understand and then you have to say it again in a different way. Same thing in a second language. So stop having mistakes be your excuse maybe, be your barrier, your wall. Just speak. Just speak, okay? If you want to learn how to swim, you got to jump in the pool, okay? Watching YouTube videos about swimming and talking to people about swimming and reading articles online about swimming is not going to make you a swimmer. You have to jump in the pool. It's the same thing for conversation, for language practice. If you don't practice the language, it's not going to work. My brother-in-law is studying Greek, okay? Because his family has a Greek heritage. And so he's trying to learn Greek. And he said to me over the weekend, you know, he uses Duolingo and he has some textbooks. He said, but you know, this is not the same if you don't have somebody to practice or talk to. I said, talk out loud if you don't have somebody to practice. Find a language partner. Go to the Greek, there's a Greek grocery store in town. Go to the Greek grocery store and talk to the guy behind the counter. You know, you've got to find ways to get the language out. I think of myself as a caveman. Huh? What do you mean a caveman? It's totally me, that one, who want to talk with only native. I know, you're not the only one, Fab. Fab is in fabulous. A lot of people are like that. But you can benefit by talking to other language learners. That's all I can say. I see it. I see it in my classes. I see it in my groups. People get comfortable. They get comfortable because one of the psychological things I think is, oh, no one's going to judge me because their language they're learning too. So yeah, just do it. Try it. Maybe it won't work for you. Look, this is my advice. It's not going to work for everybody. Okay? And then you might think, oh, but it's weird if I speak to somebody from my country in English. Let me tell you something. My buddy David, who's hanging out here today, when I lived in Japan, we used to play in a band together. Our bandmates didn't speak English, so we had to speak Japanese together. When we took our little adventure walking on the old Tokaido Road 5 years ago, we were in a lot of situations where we were in little restaurants chatting with people, and we spoke in Japanese together. And that's awkward, talking to another American guy in another language, right? But we did that. All right? And it's also, if you're in a group or a party, it's polite for the other people. Okay? So I know that's a little bit of an awkward feeling, but if you're trying to practice your language, there's nothing wrong with doing that. You said now go to the grocery store and talk with the Greek guy. It means talk with a native speaker. I'm right. I don't know if that guy is from Greece or he's an immigrant, second generation, first generation. I don't know. Yeah. So you will probably, Fabri, living in Italy, you'll probably have an easier time finding people who speak English than my brother-in-law will here in the suburbs of New York City, finding somebody who speaks Greek. Not a lot of people who speak Greek here. But I told him he has to find somebody. I don't know where he's going to find somebody who speaks Greek. Not a lot of Greek immigrants hanging around the suburbs of New York City these days, where we live. Although there's a Greek store. Maybe the guy in the Greek store, in the Greek grocery store, knows that. Maybe there's a Greek church or a Greek, I don't know, something. I don't know. You know, I gave him the same talk that I gave you guys today over the weekend. So I don't know what he's going to do, but he should do something. So that's the idea. The idea is every day you need input and output. Okay, you need to do some listening, some reading, some speaking, and some writing every day to help you improve your English. What about reading articles? Hold on, let's see. Kinds learning the first language never judge themselves in such a way. Right. You shouldn't judge yourself. Just do it. Right? Isn't that what Nike says? Just do it. Just use that language. What about reading articles containing advanced vocabulary and phrases? It's whatever you want to do. It's really, look, these are different ideas. The material that you use is totally up to you. So try everything. That's what I do. I try everything. Okay. I can't tell you how many books that I've tried in the last, August, September, October, November, December, January. In the last 5.5 months or so, I've gone through a lot of books. I read the first couple of pages of a book and I go, too hard. Or, too easy. It's hard to find something that's right at that 60%, 70% level. It's hard to do that. And so, you got to put the work in. You got to find what works for you. So, and I know, Tefo, you're not at the beginner level. You're at the advanced level. So, find something. But again, if you're thinking of taking TOEFL or IELTS this year, then do the reading section from those exams, or read something. Read whatever you want to read. It's up to you. If you don't want to read a novel, read short stories. If you don't want to read short stories, find articles. That website that I mentioned before, Breaking News English. That's a great website. If you want to get into reading the news, he breaks down the news into 2 paragraphs and then in 6 different levels. So it's good. It's good practice. Find something you're interested in. That's my best advice. Find something you like, find something that you're interested in, and go with that. Because if you're interested in that, it'll motivate you to do it. Now, I'm reading a book in Japanese, which is probably for like elementary school kids, I'm going to say 10 years old. And it's a novel. And I never read novels in English. That's the other interesting thing. I always read nonfiction in English. But this is a novel that I can read and I can understand probably 70% of the vocabulary. And it's a good review of vocabulary that I've learned that I've not used in a long time. You know, that's the point about reading. So when you're a child, when you were a child, your parents and your teachers made you read a lot of books. Why? Because they want you to read. They want you to grow your vocabulary, and they want you to remember words that you've already learned, and that's what reading does. Reading helps you learn new vocabulary, review vocabulary, and review grammar. So find something you like and read that. And that's my best advice for you. Good dictionary. So if you find the Merriam-Webster dictionary helpful, that's good. It's not necessarily designed for English learners. You know, my favorite dictionary for you is this one. I just put that in the chat. It's the Longman Dictionary online, which is an English dictionary, and it's designed for people learning English. So it has all and lots of example sentences, which is what you need when you learn a new vocabulary word. Lennon, how are you? Can you speak Spanish? I cannot speak Spanish. Sorry, just Japanese. Konnichiwa. Yes, that's the extent of my language learning. All right, that's that. So, what else did I want to tell you? And if you're interested, come on, why don't you learn English with me? Sign up, go to myhappyenglish.com. You sign up for my free workshop, okay? A lot of this advice that I talked about today is in my free vocabulary workshop. You get some PDF downloads there. And then check out my courses. Check out my English learners community. Many of you here in this room are studying here in my English learners community. Check it out. Ask your classmates here how that is. I do have self-study English courses, and I also have one-to-one lessons. Go to myhappyenglish.com. You can find all of that. Study with me. Join us. Hang out with us in the Telegram group. You won't be disappointed. That's for sure. Hi, can you speak a little on Japanese? Nihongo de, skoshi Nihongo de. That's a little Japanese. All right. Hiki. Hello. All right, that, my friends, is all the time that we have for today. Hey, thank you so much for joining me. Welcome back. I'll be here every Monday at this time for more live English lessons. Yeah, and there's a new podcast coming out today. Check that out. Thank you. Cheers. Nice cup. I would like to say thank you to Coach Shane for joining us today. Go check out Coach Shane's English lessons. I'd like to thank my buddy David for joining today. Appreciate that. There will be a new podcast coming out this afternoon, a couple of hours. It's my afternoon. I don't know what time it is there. That's coming out today, plus other English lessons for you. Go to myhappyenglish.com. You can get all the exciting things. Yuan, thank you so much for joining. Thanks so much for joining today. Keep in mind that learning another language is not always easy, but it's not impossible, and I'm here to help you on your journey. Thank you again for joining me today.